What is up, YouTube? This is T1 coming at you with another video, and today I'm going to be talking to you about The Three Musketeers, the 1843 novel by Alexandre Dumas, and not the candy bar. So last year, I set a goal for myself to read 50 books over the course of 2024. I met that goal, but this year I have something a little different in mind. One, I'd like to review every book I read, which so far I've been keeping that one. And two, I'd like to read at least one book a month that's over a century old. The first of these is The Three Musketeers. I went in totally blind to this novel. I knew it was set in France. I knew some of the character names just through, cultural osmosis, and I knew it involved some sort of corruption in the church, but that's really it. I'm glad I knew so little going in because the twisting and huge scale narrative straight up grabbed me by the throat. In the course of just under 600 pages, I was enthralled to a degree I haven't been by a book in a while. A huge reason for that are the characters. I went in expecting essentially four Zorros, but instead, each of the Musketeers and our protagonist, D'Artagnan, are so well realized. What I love about them is that, yes, they are noble, but they're entertainingly flawed as well. D'Artagnan is young and thinks he's invincible. Porthos is a vain, peacocking fop. Aramis is deeply spiritual and dreams of joining the church, but enjoys worldly pleasures a little too much, if you know what I mean. And Athos, the wise leader, well, his worldview essentially boils down to if she breathes, she's a god! By the end, not only was the camaraderie between these characters heartwarming, but I was loath to part with any individual character because I enjoyed their stories so much. And I say stories, plural, because the Musketeers and D'Artagnan, it's weird. There's four main characters of this book, right? And I know everybody's ranted about this before, but it did kind of bother me. D'Artagnan is not actually a musketeer. He's a member of a different guard, even though he spends all his time with the other three musketeers. I don't get it. But anyway, they go on many adventures over the course of the novel. Yeah, it's a big book, but there's more story in here than in some novels twice as long. But in the end, all these disparate threads do converge into a satisfying narrative. It's really deft plotting, and hats off to Dumas, not that he needs my approval. This extends to the villains. While the Cardinal is a very sinister figure at first, he's not evil, he's not a cartoon. And during the siege section of the book, he even finds himself on the same side as the Musketeers. And the real villain of this book, who I was surprised to find out is not the Cardinal, and who I really don't want to spoil. I know this is one of the most widely read novels of all time, but still, I didn't know it going in, so I could preserve that for anybody. I will. Is amazing. One of the most compellingly written characters in fiction on either side of the moral line. And the sequence involving this character imprisoned by a relative is so gripping. I mean, I couldn't put it down. Also, there's plenty of action. I know a lot of people don't like reading older books because they think they're boring, but this is a really exciting thriller. And the third act, where it essentially turns into Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but with swords, I mean, that shit is just straight up the bomb. There's a word that gets overused a lot, but I think it truly applies to this novel, and that's timeless. I really think you could put this book out today, and it would be just as big a hit as when it released back then, almost 200 years ago. There are few joys like experiencing the work of an absolute master, but that's what reading this felt like. I was genuinely in awe of Dumas' storytelling ability, and I'm really still coming down from that high. Three Musketeers is by a fairly wide margin the best book I've covered on this channel, and I would emphatically recommend picking it up to anyone who still hasn't done so. And you bet your ass I'm going to be reading those sequels.
That's a 10.
T1 signing out.